All right, I'm going to vacuum pack. This is a standard canning jar, and I'm vacuum packing some whole bean organic coffee that I got from a salvage store here in town. Look for salvage stores in your area. Basically, it's like there was something damaged in the container or whatever, or a truck flipped over and there was a bunch of food and they decided they couldn't sell it. So the salvage stores get a hold of it, and they get a hold of it for pennies on a dollar, which means what you end up with is something that could cost $5 to $10 in the store being $1 or $2 at a salvage store. So it's worth every penny. I mean, it's worth the time to go in there. Well, anyway, I rarely find organic coffee, but I did this time. So I'm going to show you how to use an alternate method. Like, I like to vacuum pack them, and freeze-dried food I like to vacuum pack in jars. But right now we're having a hard time finding jars, and usually I use the wide mouth because I have an attachment that will actually suck the air out and vacuum pack it. Here's the attachment for the standard. My attachment, though, isn't working. So if I'm in a situation where, for whatever reason, and I can't figure out why it's not working, in a situation where it's not working, before I can replace it, and by the way, can't replace them right now either, I have to figure out another way to get air out of here. So one of the ways I'm going to do it is with oxygen absorbers. These oxygen absorbers are 10 cc, so or 100 cc. I'm sorry, not 10. That's an old band. 100 cc's, and that means it'll take out 100 cc's worth of oxygen in a container. So what I'm going to do now is fill this up with my coffee I got. It's organic, and it comes with a warning sign, so you want to be aware when you come over to my house and I feed you coffee. So that's not enough. You know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Oh, by the way, this is a mayonnaise jar. I've got these mayonnaise jars. I'm not going to show you the brand, but you can kind of tell if you've seen this mayonnaise before. But these mayonnaise jars are actually threaded with a standard, whoops, you stay on there, with a standard oxygen, or standard canning jar lid. So when you're looking at the lids in the store, a lot of times honey comes in a jar that can be used as a canning jar. You'll look that it's got a full thread all the way around. If you see one that's got like 3 or 4 small threads that aren't connected, that's a lug, and that just tightens down, and that's another style. But if you look at this and you can see that you've got a standard canning jar sized lid with full threads, then you're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down because I'm waiting for that one to absorb some oxygen. But what I also like to do is cut my labels off of these containers so I get an idea of what's in the jar. I'll put the ingredients list in there, all kinds of things. Ooh, I'm really butchering this. This one comes with a skull and a crossbones. I've never had this coffee before, but you know, when you're going to the salvage stores, you get what they have, right? So what you can do is slide that label down there so you can see it later. And I still have a little bit of the label from my mayonnaise jar. I'm not really worried about it. I don't care about such things, but I can even write on that if I feel like it. Fill your jar up. I'm going to go ahead and pop this one out. Just to finish this one. But I'm basically using an old mayonnaise jar in a time when you just can't get canning jars, or if you can, they're $10 a piece. I'm not lying. I've seen them more expensive than $10 a piece. The ones I like to use, the quart size wide mouth, $10 a piece. It's insane. I won't do it. So, because I'm a jar hoarder, as you can see, I hoard all kinds of jars, it's hard for me to get rid of something that has a canning jar with an attachment on the top. I actually have some jars here now that I can use to vacuum pack some food. So I'm going to stick those 2 oxygen absorbers in there. I'll go ahead and get another one and stick that in there. Okay, put the lid on and snug it down. Don't tighten it too much, but snug it down so that when it sucks the oxygen out of there, that'll pop in and you can tell that it is vacuum packed. Okay? just another little trick. Figure out what kind of jar you have by looking at its lid, and you could be buying food from the grocery store with canning jar abilities. You may not want to put it in a hot bath, although I personally can't see why that would be a problem. I haven't done it yet, so you know, at your own risk. But the vacuum pack attachments, they'll work on it, and the canning lids and rings will work on it. And then you've got effectively a $10 jar coming with a $4 jar of like organic mayonnaise. Pretty awesome stuff. Well, we're gonna vacuum pack some coffee, some whole bean coffee. Again, it's the same stuff, the organic stuff I got from the salvage place that we talked about in the previous video. That stuff is probably about, I've never seen anything of this size. What is this? It's got to be just 1 pound. 1 pound for anything less than like say $8.99. Okay, this was $1 at the salvage place. Still well within the date, and I'm gonna vacuum pack it in a wide mouth canning jar. Now I've never, for whatever reason, I've never found a product, you know, like I talked about the standard size lids being used on a lot of products like this mayonnaise in the grocery store, and you can just buy a product and you have a canning jar when it's all said and done. I've never seen a wide mouth jar done that way. I don't know why. But I'm going to show you an alternate way of vacuum packing. What would happen if the power was out? Okay, if the power's out, then you have to deal with the fact that your vacuum packer won't work. Well, let's go ahead and throw some coffee beans in here. I always like to tap it all down, get all the spaces out. That's less oxygen that needs to be pulled out. You get more product in every jar. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you're trying to pack away bulk foods. You don't want to have a whole bunch of jars that have a lot of empty space in them. But anyway, so we'll use a standard lid. Oh, I shouldn't say standard. It's a standard wide mouth. It's a wide mouth lid for this wide mouth jar, and the wide mouth vacuum pack attachment. No electricity, but what would happen if you had a brake bleeder? Not a Blake breeder, a brake bleeder. This is for when you do work on the brake lines on your car. You can put this little vacuum attachment on there and you can suck up some vacuum, get all the extra air out, and then your brakes work better, or they work at all. They won't work with any air in the line. So what I'm gonna do now is, and it comes with all these little attachments. And there's one that fits down snugly. It's kind of rubbery. It fits down snugly in the lid. And then you just start squeezing the handle and taking the oxygen out of the jar. And you'll notice on the dial, which you might not be able to see that on the video, but you can actually see the dial moving up, kind of telling you your pounds. You know for sure that you're getting progress here. And generally, you can pretty much stop. Once the dial moves a certain distance, you know, you're just trying to get a certain amount of oxygen out of there. You know, you'll get used to your situation. But I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. There you go. Pop my lid off. Look at that. Listen to it. I'll be real quiet. Vacuum packing without power using an automotive brake bleeder. Comes with its own attachment. Good to go. As you probably have seen, because of COVID and civil unrest, we're having a hard time finding regular canning jars. Like a jar like this currently is going for about $10 a jar. You literally can get a pack of 4 of them for about $40. Then you have to pay shipping, so it's actually more expensive. I can't find them anywhere in any store. Of the standard, these, anything, pints, it doesn't matter. The half gallons, can't find them. And I've been canning, I buy canning jars every month for as many years as I can remember now. and now nothing. So let me show you an interesting trick. I do a lot of freeze drying. Okay, got some blueberries and I've got some lemons off my lemon tree. What I'm going to do is I've got this granola, and I'm going to show you how you can use a standard pickle jar and a wide mouth lid that fits on a regular canning jar with a standard pickle jar. You might not believe your eyes, but let's see if you do. Do I have a funnel? Yes. Will I walk over and get it? No. Little table goo gets to go in there. This table's so clean you could eat off of it. All right. I always like to tamp things down. All of this came out of this jar. I actually pulled this jar just to show you this. So it's like it better fit back in there. All right. A little bit here and there. All right, there you go. Put the lid on it. Stick your wide mouth vacuum packing lid on it, and then put it on your vacuum packing machine, or, as I've shown in another video, your automotive brake line bleeder. And just suck the air out of that thing. You can watch on the little gauge here how much juice you're getting. I mean, as far as like pressure. All right. Look at that. Don't believe me? Look at that. Vacuum packed. So now you can use a non-standard jar with your wide mouth lids, but you can't use the rings. But most people don't use rings on their jars when they store them anyway. I do, but whatever you do, don't tighten them. Just enough so that they keep the lid from getting popped off. If you tighten them and then they get moist in the humidity or something, they're liable to literally rust on here, and you'll have to take a hacksaw and cut them off. I've had to do that. It's not good. So I don't know if there's another way, maybe hitting them with a torch. I don't know, but the hacksaw worked for me. Well, I hope that helps. Speaking on another neat thing you can do with standard jars. So these are standard sized canning jars. Here's a wide mouth jar lid. Obviously doesn't fit. These are some really old lids. I'm going to throw them out, but that's a standard size jar lid. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if you could do something cool with your blender, like say, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but an old style blender, you can pull, to clean it, you can pull the blade assembly off. And guess what it's threaded to? Always has been. Okay, so what you end up with is a magic bullet. Now you might say, yeah, but a magic bullet has a handle. Well, guess what? They have standard size canning jars with a handle. There's your magic bullet. Interesting stuff, huh? Easy to clean. They still make standard size blenders, but the thing is, you can't get we have a Vitamix, which is an amazing blender, don't get me wrong. It's already about 20 years old. I've rebuilt some of the seals on the canister on that thing one time, and that was about it. But with a regular, like thrift store / guard sale find, here's a Proctor Silex or whatever blender that has a removable blade assembly from the, I guess you call that a pitcher, that will fit on a standard size canning jar. And by the way, you can buy standard size canning jars in the store, usually Honey. That's a standard size canning jar lid. I'll prove to you. I don't want to put the assembly on my Honey, but there you go. See that? And if you haven't seen it in the other video, mayonnaise jars actually have a standard size canning jar lid. So they come in all different sizes, and all of them screw right on. Pretty cool, huh? There you go. Did I hurt that thing? It sounded like it made a weird noise. It was just the small space reverberating funnily. But there you go. Turn your standard, everyday, old-fashioned, they go back 60 years and they have the same attachment, a blender into a magic bullet. So you don't need to buy a magic bullet. All that stuff's made out of plastic and it's all falling apart already. Just get yourself, say, a jar with a handle on it. Or don't even worry about it. Just drink straight out of a mason jar. There you go.